LINGAOYUAN, a former world #2, and he's been a finalist in WTT Champions at the European Summer Series in 2022. How about that? This is a high-quality matchup between two really experienced players, a 36-year-old and a 30-year-old here, about to do battle inside the Infinity Arena. Just a reminder for you, it's going to be potentially up to 5 games of this one. We've seen that already today with some stunning action in the women's singles. What does this finale to our session have in store for us? In terms of WTT head-to-head action, only that one match to speak of there. That was a star contender European Summer Series, and that one coming back in 2022. It was won by Lin. But if you go back over their careers, they've met 6 times with 5 wins for the man from China against the German. Pairut is once again in the chair. And he waits for the arrival of the players here. This is going to produce some noise, you can be sure about this. The lull before the storm.
I have red or black. Lin red, OVTCHAROV black. Sorry. Black, OVTCHAROV in the toss. Side. Okay.
So LINGAOYUAN then comes to the table here. Somebody who, of course, has the pedigree to take on absolutely anybody. As Fraser Riley joins me for this one. A little sneak peek. I was talking to you before this one, Fraser. You've got a strong feeling for the German here. Why is that?
I mean, he's just such a formidable player, Dimitrij OVTCHAROV. 2-time Olympic bronze medalist. As you said, former world #1, former World Cup champion. Just mentally rock solid. You just know when you see you're coming up against Dima in the draw, he's not going to give you an easy time of things.
And as for LINGAOYUAN, well, we know all about this man's pedigree, of course. He's been up there near the top of the rankings for so long. Down at around 10 right now, which makes him a very dangerous player to come up against in the draw. His last 3 results at this series level: semi-finalist in Muscat, round of 16 at the finals in Fukuoka, and in Chongqing, again by his standards, round of 16, not where he wants the journey to end. He has an opportunity, of course, to make it through to the quarterfinals. So as they do what they do in preparation, quick look here at what we're seeing here. And this feels like, we've said it all week, Fraser, an event in which they can all have an eye on that main prize. The big points and the big money.
Yeah, it's so open. The World Championships just around the corner as well is an interesting factor to consider in terms of, you know, pressure and what it means for the players. This is a great event. It's a star-studded lineup, and here is a look at the fan vote. 80%. Well, you don't know whether the fans, John, are showing love or making a prediction, do you?
Yeah, it's always the way, particularly with online polls. But thanks to everyone for getting involved. It's just another dimension to our build-up to these matches, and that's so important. Just one last thing to bear in mind: whoever does emerge from this one will face Lee Sang-soo, the Korean, in the quarterfinal. And he got past Anders Lind, having to turn things around after a slow start. He'll be a formidable foe with the crowd behind him. But that's for later. Right now, it's time for round of 16 action, and one to savor. Here come the cheers. The gyros are going to be in evidence. We've seen that online, and now we're going to hear it in person inside the Infinity Arena.
Lin versus OVTCHAROV. First game, OVTCHAROV to serve. Love all. Love 1.
Talking about William Hensel, former Australian player with the tomahawk serves on Finloo's match, and you see some really interesting serves from Dima. The backhand drop to the floor serve and the forehand tomahawk.
Yeah, drops the points on those, but he loves getting down low. It's a feature of his previous match, and he has a routine. He starts with the low one, then he'll switch it up a little bit.
2-1.
Not as if he's absolutely a slave to that format, but it just seems to be the way he likes to start.
Yeah, it is. Just to test the waters. It's a very handcuffing service. Both of these players brilliant in the serve receive.
1-3.
How much action was there on that? Spinning and fizzing off Dima's back.
That was a mean level of spin. Ovtcharov sometimes likes to receive with the backhand. Touch and push from the forehand side.
2-3.
Got some quirky characteristics to his game, the German player.
Yeah, that's what's made him so successful. 6 Olympic medals in his career. Only Ma Long, I think, matches that.
Wow. And what a semi-final they had in Tokyo.
Oh, yeah.
3
Into the
all.
corner. Casual as you like with the flick.
Some side spin, some top spin on that serve. LINGAOYUAN with a lukewarm receive. That's going to get punished from Dima. No prisoners. Just like Franziska. An incredible backhand over the table, Dima.
4-3.
And Lin's as well. I like LINGAOYUAN's technique on the backhand. It's a full stroke that comes the 4-way round. Here it is. And then he shows the initiative, the proactive movement. He's cat-like, the Dark Knight.
Yeah, great description. Feline in his movements.
3-5.
And he's just quietly going about his work here. Purring, if you will. Just a little tied up there, Dima, trying to get his feet moving early on in the piece. It's forgivable, really, when you're 36 years old. No matter how much warm-up you do, you just get that little bit harder to start anyway. More tricky serve variation.
These are the kind of rallies where Ovtcharov really excels. Drive. He likes it fast-paced. It's the spin game of LINGAOYUAN that, for me, bears the question mark.
But he's so quick, isn't he? That's the other thing. The movement, absolutely irresistible there.
Perfectly timed forehand flick right through the back of the ball. Little shimmy. Stalled there to create a bit of indecision on Dima's end.
And that time, taking the initiative with that deep serve that Dima really never quite recovered from.
I haven't seen LINGAOYUAN play that serve so often, but it was effective there in constructing the point. Look at that placement into the right hip, the crossover section, suffocating Ovtcharov for space.
It was a perfect follow-up, wasn't it? And it's almost a mirror image there. This time, Dima swarming the table and getting that forehand flick winner.
Conviction there in that forehand.
Back where we started on the serve in terms of the action, but the actual serve delivered. Haven't seen that one yet.
I've seen a high percentage of long serves in this opener. Both players fancy themselves in the rally. Could make for some fantastic points in this match.
How good was that flick? Barely anything to work with.
Well, it's clawing it back here. What's that? 3 in a row from Ovtcharov.
Back within 1. Another long serve, anyone?
7-9.
They're going for it.
Both acknowledging that they want to try and win the point early. Testament to the opponent's wherewithal once it blossoms out of the serve and receive. That was a great combination from the 6th seed.
Let called on the chop.
So 1 for the verticality of the toss, the height of the toss.
7-9.
But it was a high toss serve, says Dima. How can you tell?
7-10.
We'll have to see that one again, John, but nevertheless, look at this.
It's 3 game points after that little moment of controversy. Oh, and that's
11-7.
a cruel way to
Game
lose
to
it for
Lin.
Dima, but it's a major result that for Lingaoyuan, who has taken out the first game here. Get the feeling we're still in the very, very early exchanges here. There's a lot left to be played in here, but it is one on the board for the man from China. Lingaoyuan's won the first game against Dima here and heads back to the table. This is that moment about that let called on a serve for OVTCHAROV that puzzled him. Puzzled Fraser a little bit as well, but you know, the pros put it out.
Second game,
they have to move on.
Lin to serve, love all.
Ticked off OVTCHAROV a little bit, and it makes this match even more of a ticking time bomb.
One love.
OVTCHAROV will use that as fuel to his fire. The meticulous German.
Oh, and again.
1-all.
They trade blows, and you're right, this always feels like a ticking time bomb. Feels as if this could go off, this one. Oh, wow.
2-1.
The heavy net, and then this tiny, tiny table edge touch.
The slice and dice, and OVTCHAROV there. Got a 6.
Oh, how about this for deception?
Yeah, nicely said. And the long serve at this level has to have deception, or it's going to get spanked. Oh, flash in the crowd. Gao Yuan saying, "Come on, turn it off. You should know better." No, many excited fans here seeing these stars, maybe even for the first time.
Oh, that is beautifully played. And he doesn't do things in a flamboyant way, but the results are there all the same. There's so much to love about this match, but it's the service at the moment that's utterly compelling. The duel between these two.
See the position that the ball was heading into made OVTCHAROV feel like that serve was flickable, but the side spin kicked away from the waiting area. Nicely put there from OVTCHAROV. Can't give him too much time to play that backhand. It's taken out the likes of Fan Zhendong on what, 3 occasions. He's beaten the Olympic champion.
3-5.
Just found himself dragged around there a little bit, Lingaoyuan, and unable to come up with an answer when it came into this crossover position.
There's certain moments where OVTCHAROV just getting a little bit jammed up, finding himself too close to the table. Not in this point, but I'm just talking about overall here in the match. I feel like he wants to give himself just a little bit more space. Gao Yuan is so quick and a bit lighter in frame. He can afford to stay a bit closer on average.
Steers it wide and long, though.
See here, he had time, OVTCHAROV. He had time to identify the level of spin he was up against and space to play a full stroke forehand. Well calibrated.
Yeah, looking for that ability to get the arms free and really work on the ball.
Sometimes it's better to let the spin do its thing. Sometimes you want to wait a bit more to be able to caress the shot as the spin gradually dies on its flight. Interesting. Ovtcharov re-pushed, which you barely see in the men or women's game at this level. That was improv because the receive of Gao Yuan was strong.
And that's experience, isn't it? Sliding under the ball then, when you probably expected him to try and take the initiative far more than that. Probably took LINGAOYUAN a little bit by surprise.
100%.
Five, 7.
That is a
6,
blur
7.
of speed. And again, we've seen him in this position a couple of times. They're just getting jammed up. Nowhere to go on the forehand. Look out
6,
for it
7.
now.
Yeah, because he's constantly trying to protect the middle with the backhand. Gao Yuan was clever to put the ball to the same place twice in a row.
And that's a put away.
Yeah.
7,
He's not going to miss those.
Pulls him back to 7-all. Leads by 1 game to love, remember.
Lovely fade. Came right across the side of the ball to guide it out wide with some side spin.
8, 7.
Oh, this is bubbling up very nicely indeed. 1 point in it in the second.
Just chained together, these two, dragging the other down to the deep end.
Tried to get the early
9.
jump on that one. LINGAOYUAN moved into position early.
Well, Gao Yuan has a fluid flick and he loves to use it with the backhand, but there he couldn't recover to play the forehand. He almost bit the bait.
We've seen that before, right?
We have, and do you know what was clever about that? LINGAOYUAN was misplaced after this shot here. He didn't increase the pace too much. He was spinning heavily, despite being on the back foot. I feel like they're both really enjoying this, despite it being tight.
9-all.
Reveling in the pressure, in the heat of competition, which is locked at 9-all now. Both serving well, and we've really appreciated seeing the variations and the quality in the serves. It's LINGAOYUAN who's better though. He's in the 70s, high 70s, rather than the high 60s of the man who's about to serve. Again, getting
10-9.
into position so quickly for that flick you spoke about. Looking to play that, but it's a commitment he makes, LINGAOYUAN.
He's trying to get on the front foot straight away. He's banking on the recovery of Ovtcharov not being that strong. It was on point that time.
He had 2 game points, one of them goes. Or rather 1, wasn't it, from Dima there. So this is tight still.
That flick deeper on the table, that was key.
One. 10-all.
Oh, the net cord changed the metric of the rally. Gao Yuan apologises. Ovtcharov just couldn't recollect. Just put on the back foot from that. But with the serves alternating, has a chance here.
And that miss from Ovtcharov hands his opponent a 2 games to love lead. This has been tight throughout, but when it matters most, the Chinese player has just got his nose in front. So 11-7, 12-10. He's in a very strong position to stake a claim for a place in the quarterfinals. So looking at who is left, Lingaoyan is one of these seeds remaining. Remember, we've seen some high-profile casualties, none higher than Tomokazu Haramoto, the #1 seed. We lost Felix Lebrun right at the start, and Jang Woo-jin and Dong Cho also heading out. So they're an endangered breed, the top seeds here in Incheon, because this is such a competitive men's draw in the WTT Champions. Just before we get into the serves here, Fraser, just looking at Lingaoyan, he's actually ranked #1 in the men's game with the most serve points won this year so far. 68% of all serves so far in WTT singles events. That won't surprise you given what we've seen so far, will it?
No, he's so good with them behind the serve, you know. And the fact that he's a lefty as well really, really helps him. You know, Lim Win-Roo, I bet Hedges up there too.
Because it's been a game of fine margins, this one, and that service strength, which was at 77% last time we looked at it, obviously key for him. But Dima looking to try and build something in this first of 3 must-win games that he'll hope to play.
It's easy to forget sometimes how good of a player Lingaoyan is, because he doesn't get the same level of spotlight as his teammates, and he's shown a bit more vulnerability than them. He's had many ups and downs, you know, and some regrettable matches. Most recently, the World Cup final against Ma Long, 3-0 up the Dark Knight. But yeah, I mean, look at the overall head-to-head, 5-1 over Ovtcharov. It's very, very impressive. He has the silky skills, and if he can just develop his killer instinct a bit more, who knows, it's not too late for him, despite being the more senior player of the men's team.
3-all.
Such a high-quality match, this. The balls that Dima was having to deal with there, so uncomfortable. 3 apiece. Well, he went low and he won big.
A nice scooping shot here from Dima, recognizing the serve would come wide enough, letting the ball drop so he can create more dwell up the back. I think he's acknowledged, Dmitry Ovtcharov, that he's not going to beat Gao Yuan fire for fire. So he's trying to maybe slow the game down a little bit more now and create juxtapositions. Still going for the kill shot when it's there. Not trying to blast everything though.
4-5.
Having said that, he's powered one past his opponent there. And the variety here from Lingaoyan is extraordinary in that he's got the touch, he's spinning the ball, he's got the power when he wants it, and it's an all-round package that Dima's finding hard to handle. So timeout called. Time to talk to Jörg Roskopf.
Das kannst du ausnutzen, indem du die Bälle beschleunigst. Ja? Du hast diese 2 Rückhände gespielt, eine Rückhand, und die zweite auch versucht, die zweite zu beschleunigen. Ja? Dass er mit seiner langen Bewegung dann gar nicht zu diesem Ball hinkommt. Ja? Immer weiter, ja? Nicht so viel, aber mit Kante einmal auf die Kante akzeptieren, weiter nächste Mann. Also du bist dann voll im Spiel. Du weißt, wie oft der so Gegner dann auch verlegt hat, jeden Ball dranbleiben. Ja? Er kommt gut mit seinem Aufschlag rein. Ja, okay, aber du hast es gut gemacht, der war halblang, spielst du gut, kommst du. Wir nehmen aggressiv rein. Und versuch aggressiv zu spielen, dann soll er erstmal diesen Ball zurückspielen. Ja? Okay, let's go, come on.
Between the two of them, there's some experience in table tennis, but this is a tall order against Gao Yuan, who has been so convincing, particularly in the last few points. just seems to, as you said, be in a good place right now. A player who occasionally has been vulnerable.
4-5.
Beautifully put away from Dimitrij Ovtcharov. A little lap of victory for him there, but no, yes, John. I mean, he must have sat back a little bit, LINGAOYUAN, recently, and nice put away. Sort of reflected on his career, how far he's actually come, you know, because it's easy to let your head drop and feel like you don't deserve to be there, but he really does. He really, really does.
Forced onto the back foot, trying to conjure up some kind of defense. Dima there, but can't do so. We've said this a lot over the opening few days here in Incheon, but this feels like an event that's an opportunity for a number of players, and you're going to presumably apply that thinking to LINGAOYUAN as well.
Yeah. Ovtcharov's going through an interesting patch right now as well. You know, 21 in the world. Feels strange to see him outside the top 20. He's going through a sort of post-Houston Beauregard phase right now, and well, like you say, for everybody, John, there's a lot on the line. There's a lot up for grabs. We're only just getting the ball rolling in this season.
7-all.
When it's come down to these tight moments, it's been the man from China that's just had the edge at the end of these games in this match so far.
I wouldn't normally say this, but the closer it gets, the more I actually fancy LINGAOYUAN in this match right now. Oh.
Just misses with that one when we thought we were in for some popcorn stuff.
A heart skipped a beat there. LINGAOYUAN twiddling there to get the harder rubber on the forehand for these smashes. Great lobbing from Dima. You don't often see him back there doing that. Good focus. They're not easy to get over, those skyscrapers.
Sharp into the body from Dima. He's going to have to do this the very, very hardest of ways, Dima, if he is to get through to the quarterfinals. Trails by a couple, all square in the third. Talking to him earlier on, he's a big fan of Korean barbecue. He's already had it a couple of times since he's been here, and he'd have been looking forward to maybe a victory feast this evening, but that looks a long way off right now. And with that, it's a match point. LINGAOYUAN is on the brink.
He looks towards the lights of the Infinity Arena, takes a deep breath. Does he have the closure and the composure here, LINGAOYUAN?
Here we go. He's going to give nothing away, Dima. But sometimes you just take what you want. And earning another match point.
That was like a viper. It's peering through the grass, LINGAOYUAN on receive. What a shot.
But it doesn't set up the win, because Dima's back at 11-all now.
This is what I mean about the Dima mentality.
Battle hardened.
Grizzled.
And
11,
now,
12.
with just a glimpse of an opening. Game point, Ovtcharov. Oh, so close.
12 all.
Flashed the backhand, missed it.
Got to try and keep your fundamentals strong in these tense moments. Trying to play a really, really cute angle there. That was a tough ask, even for him.
From the towels back to the table, the drama. He's seen plenty in this sport and will be powerless to do anything just yet.
12 all.
And this is really on the brink stuff for Dima. Can't afford a mistake, but still went for it and earned himself a game point again.
Look how high his forefinger was on the racket when he played that counter.
And it's worth it. It's paid off.
Game to Ovtcharov.
Held his nerve, continued to play his shots, and the reward is the fact he's still in this match.
He's clutched up, he's saved match point, it's a fourth game, and well, we know, don't we, that these are the kind of moments where LINGAOYUAN can sometimes bottle it. We'll see what happens next, but Ovtcharov with a second chance at this match.
And here he comes, jogging back into action, a man who's just saved a match point, Dmitry Ovtcharov, and gone on to win the game. He still trails by 2-1 against LINGAOYUAN, and it's still going to be a tall order for him to stay in this event in Incheon, but it's on.
Lead serve, love all. One love.
Very difficult to reset here for LINGAOYUAN, knowing that he could have finished it with the bagel. Knowing that he had match points, how do you forget that? How do you sweep that under the carpet?
Any point taken against that serve is a good point, and he acknowledged that with the celebration.
Wow, that was an amazing shot. It was loaded with backspin. How has he flicked that? The racket speed was required. Yet it was a low serve with backspin. And the table surface is the obstacle. Incredible.
We're talking about Dima's mental fortitude earlier on, and just checking the stats. In 2025, in terms of saving game points, Dima's at 60% success rate. Speaks volumes for his character.
That's his service percentage, sorry.
No, saving game points.
Saving game points, apologies.
Just means that more often than not, he's going to do it.
Yeah.
But that was then. Now we're into the fourth.
It's a really impressive start, actually. Really impressive.
But he's got to start all over again. 4-1.
There's been a couple of occasions where Ovtcharov has acted a little bit too prematurely, particularly with the backhand. You see it there. It just cost him some time. He was revving up for the backhand, but LINGAOYUAN is that fast, it's intimidating. When you see the blur that is his body rev up for shots, and the fact that there's not much giveaway before he makes contact with the ball where he's going to go. It's a very fine line to gauge in table tennis, acting too late and acting too early. Really, really tough tightrope to walk on.
Well, he needs to act now before it is too late. All that hard work and earning a game, but he can't afford to slip up in this. Another must win.
2-5.
He might be 3 points behind here, but this is far from over.
6-2.
4 the difference now. The gap. He doesn't want to give Dima a chance here.
One of those sort of matches where there'll be a lot of people saying if Ovtcharov wins this game, he'd probably end up winning the match. It's almost a must-win game, saying that for LINGAOYUAN in a sense. Oh, nice.
Right place, right time.
3-7.
What a riposte. Door was open and he strolled through it.
Nice construction. He manufactured that.
3-8.
He's up to 8 points now. He can feel it, he can smell it, he can touch a place in the quarterfinals. That's now 7 of the last 9 points that have gone to LINGAOYUAN, who is beginning to look the part, beginning to look like a quarterfinalist.
He's done so well here to shut down Ovtcharov, who seemed to be getting a grip on this one.
He was nowhere, absolutely nowhere, but Dima puts it in the net.
Look at this shot here. Ovtcharov with some great play, but he's hugged that so well. There's virtually no topspin on that.
Match points.
11-3.
And there it is, 11-3. Wins it by 3 games to 1. And maybe a surprise, the way that one played out at the end. Looked as if we were set up possibly for a 5-gamer. Didn't happen, because LINGAOYUAN defied any thought or talk of vulnerability and turned in a really commanding performance there. Having dropped the third narrowly, he has strolled through the fourth and into an encounter with Lee Sang-soo in the quarterfinals here in Incheon. That's one happy coach.